Ethan Cross walked through the crowded corridors of the interstellar trade hub, his boots clicking against the metallic floor. Everywhere he looked, aliens of all shapes and sizes were moving about, some with multiple limbs, some with glowing eyes, others with translucent skin that shimmered like liquid. Humans were few here, and Ethan often felt out of place. But today, he carried a purpose. A debt was waiting to be collected, and he had never failed at his job. He adjusted the strap of the satchel slung across his shoulder, making sure the datapad inside was secure. The datapad contained the contract, the owed amount, and, most importantly, the instructions for repayment. Ethan had traveled for weeks to reach this hub, following leads through asteroid fields, pirate-controlled trade routes, and bureaucratic checkpoints. Every step had been calculated, and now he was finally close. His target was a merchant known across multiple star systems, one of the wealthiest and most secretive alien traders in the sector. Name: Varkon Trell. The debt was large, and Ethan had been warned not to underestimate him. But Ethan had a reputation. He didn't just collect debts. He made sure the debtor honored their word, whatever it took. The merchant's store was tucked into a narrow side corridor, almost hidden between towering shops that sold everything from shimmering crystals to bottled nebula gas. Ethan stepped inside, and the smell of exotic spices and metal hit him immediately. Behind the counter stood Varkon Trell, a towering figure with jagged scales and a pair of glowing amber eyes that seemed to pierce through the shadows. "Ah, human," Varkon said, his voice deep and raspy. "I was wondering when you would arrive." Ethan didn't respond with small talk. He reached into his satchel and pulled out the datapad. "You owe me a lot, Varkon. I'm here to collect. No games, no excuses." Varkon's eyes narrowed. "I see. And if I cannot pay you in credits?" Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Then we'll negotiate another way. But the debt must be cleared. You know the rules." Varkon hesitated, his claws tapping against the counter. Then he leaned closer and lowered his voice. "There is another way. But it is unusual. I can offer you a guest, someone of high importance, someone you would not expect." Ethan tilted his head. "A guest? I don't take people as payment." "You will not be disappointed," Varkon said, his smile revealing sharp teeth. "This guest is a princess." Ethan blinked. "A princess?" "Yes, Princess Liara of the Dithari realm. Her presence will repay your debt more than any credits ever could." Ethan's mind raced. A human princess? No, the Dithari realm was an alien world, light years away. And yet, a princess as repayment? It sounded impossible, even for someone like Ethan who had seen his fair share of strange things. "You're serious?" he asked cautiously. Varkon inclined his head. "You will see. She is waiting on the transport. Your job is to bring her to safety. Nothing else." Ethan studied him carefully. Something about Varkon's eyes suggested this was not a lie. But even if it was true, why him? Why a human debt collector? "Fine," Ethan said finally. "Show me where she is." Varkon led him to a private docking bay at the edge of the hub. A sleek ship waited, shimmering under the soft glow of the bay lights. Ethan stepped inside, and the interior was surprisingly luxurious for a transport ship. Soft lighting, comfortable seating, and walls lined with alien glyphs that pulsed faintly. Then he saw her. Princess Liara sat calmly on the central seat, her posture perfect and regal. She was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Her skin was pale with a soft bluish tint, her eyes large and luminous like twin moons, and her hair flowed like liquid silver. She regarded him with a quiet curiosity, not fear, not anger, just calm. "Are you Ethan Cross?" she asked, her voice melodic, yet firm. "Yes," he said. "And you must be Princess Liara. Are you okay with this?" Liara smiled faintly. "I am not afraid. I have faced worse situations than this, but I am curious. A human sent to bring me? How unusual." Ethan felt a mix of pride and anxiety. Unusual is one way to put it. Before he could respond further, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the walls and the ship shook violently. Ethan grabbed a railing as Varkon's voice came over the communicator. "They know she is leaving. The retrieval agents are here. You must leave immediately." Ethan's heart pounded. This was no ordinary debt collection. He had expected resistance, perhaps a few guards, maybe some tricky negotiations. But actual pursuit? That was another level. "Hold on, Princess," he said, moving to the control panel. "We're leaving, and nothing's going to stop us." Liara rose gracefully and joined him. "I will assist you. You may need my guidance." Ethan was surprised. "Guidance? Yes. You may be clever, but these enemies, our enemies, have technology far beyond your experience. Together we stand a chance." The ship shot out of the docking bay, weaving between larger cargo vessels. Outside, smaller pursuit crafts emerged, firing bursts of plasma. Ethan maneuvered with skill, ducking through asteroid rings and narrow trade lanes. Liara directed him toward shortcuts and safe passages that only someone familiar with alien space routes would know. For hours, they evaded capture. Ethan learned quickly that Liara's knowledge was invaluable. She was more than just royalty. She was strategic, calculating every move. And yet she seemed calm, almost enjoying the challenge. When they finally reached open space, far from the hub, Ethan allowed himself a moment to breathe. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent and vast. Liara turned to him, her luminous eyes reflecting the galaxy. "You humans are unpredictable," she said with a hint of amusement. "I see why you survive so well in dangerous situations. Logic alone would not have saved us." Ethan chuckled despite the tension. "It's called instinct and maybe a little bit of luck." Liara nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps, but I must admit your courage is remarkable. Most humans would have panicked, yet you remained focused. That is why I trust you." Ethan felt a strange sense of responsibility. This was no longer about a debt. This was about protecting a life that carried the future of a kingdom on her shoulders. As the ship continued through the vast emptiness of space, Ethan realized that nothing in his past experience had prepared him for this moment. A debt collector turned protector of an alien princess. It sounded absurd. And yet here he was navigating the unknown, relying on human courage and alien wisdom to survive. "Where are we going?" Ethan finally asked, breaking the silence. Liara's expression grew serious. "To a hidden sanctuary, a place my people can defend. But we must hurry. The retrieval agents will not stop until they have me." Ethan nodded. "Then let's make sure they never catch us." For the first time in weeks, Ethan felt a thrill of true adventure. He had expected a simple mission, a simple reward. Instead, he had stepped into a story far greater than himself, one that could change the fate of worlds. And as he looked at Princess Liara, calm and poised beside him, he understood that this was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to the beginning of a journey neither human nor alien would forget. The stars stretched endlessly around Ethan Cross as he piloted the small transport ship. Even though the vast emptiness of space was silent, tension filled the cabin. The alarms from earlier still echoed in his mind, a constant reminder that they were not alone. Princess Liara sat beside him, calm as ever, yet her eyes scanned the starfield with keen intelligence. Ethan stole a glance at her. "I still don't understand why they sent me, just a human, to help you. Surely they have guards, soldiers, entire fleets." Liara tilted her head slightly, as if amused. "They did not expect a human. Our enemies are cautious, yes, but predictable. Humans are unpredictable. That is why you are useful." Ethan frowned. "Unpredictable? I'm just trying to keep us alive." Liara's lips curved into a small smile. "Exactly. And that is why I trust you." Before Ethan could respond, the ship's sensors beeped frantically. Outside, sleek black crafts with sharp angles and glowing weapons surged toward them. The retrieval agents had found them. "They're fast," Ethan muttered, gripping the controls tighter. "And they're not giving up." Liara leaned forward, pointing at the approaching ships. "There is a cluster of asteroids ahead, narrow passages. They cannot maneuver as well there." Take that route. I will guide you. Ethan followed her instructions, weaving the ship through the dense asteroid field. Rocks and debris tumbled past, and for a moment, the silence of space was replaced by the roar of adrenaline. The black crafts pursued them relentlessly. But every turn and twist in the asteroid field slowed their attackers. "Hold on," Ethan shouted as he veered sharply, narrowly avoiding a spinning rock. The ship jolted violently, and Liara grabbed a railing to steady herself. "You humans are fearless," she said, steadying her voice. "Or perhaps foolish." Ethan grinned, even as his hands ached from gripping the controls. Maybe a little of both. For hours they navigated the asteroid field, relying on Liara's guidance and Ethan's piloting skill. Finally, they reached a calm stretch of space. Ethan allowed himself a moment to breathe. The immediate danger had passed, but he knew it was only temporary. "They will not give up," Liara said quietly. "Their empire does not forgive failure. They will send more ships. We need allies, quickly." Ethan nodded. "Do you have a place in mind?" Liara's eyes gleamed with determination. "There is a hidden sanctuary far from the known trade routes. My people will help us there, and we can plan our next move." Ethan was curious. "Hidden sanctuary? How hidden?" Liara smiled faintly. "Even the most advanced scanners cannot detect it without guidance. Few beings have ever found it, and fewer survive the journey." Ethan felt a thrill of excitement. He had faced dangerous situations before, but never like this. Flying through uncharted space, protecting an alien princess, outsmarting relentless pursuers, it was more than any human should handle. Yet somehow, he felt ready. Their journey was long and exhausting. Ethan took turns resting, keeping one hand on the controls while Liara monitored the sensors and navigational maps. She taught him how to read the subtle patterns in space currents, how to anticipate gravitational pulls, and how to use asteroid belts to their advantage. "Humans rely too much on technology," she explained one evening. "You forget that instinct and observation are just as powerful. Watch the stars, feel the currents, think beyond your instruments." Ethan laughed softly. "You're teaching me to be more than a pilot. You're teaching me to survive in space." Liara's eyes glimmered. "And perhaps more. You must understand, Ethan, survival is only the beginning. What we face will require strategy, courage, and trust." Ethan felt the weight of her words. He had come to collect a debt, expecting a straightforward job. Instead, he had been thrown into a conflict that spanned galaxies. And yet, as he glanced at Liara, calm and confident beside him, he felt a strange reassurance. Somehow they could succeed, together. As days passed, Ethan and Liara grew accustomed to the routines of their journey. They navigated asteroid clusters, dodged wandering comets, and avoided detection from patrolling fleets. They shared stories of their worlds. Liara described the majestic towers and floating cities of her home planet, the way her people studied the stars, and the history of her royal family. Ethan told her about Earth, about humanity's struggles and triumphs, and about the simple joys of life that aliens often could not imagine. "You humans value the small things," Liara said one evening, as they gazed at a nebula, its colors shifting like liquid fire. "Food, music, laughter. Even in a universe so vast, you hold on to what matters." Ethan smiled. "It's what keeps us going, even when things seem impossible." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Trust replaced hesitation, and respect replaced doubt. Liara began to rely on Ethan's instincts as much as he relied on her knowledge of alien space. They complemented each other, forming a partnership neither had expected, but danger was never far behind. One morning, sensors picked up a massive fleet approaching from the opposite direction. Ethan's heart sank. "Looks like they found us again." Liara's expression was calm but focused. "Not just them. They are leading an entire squadron. We must act quickly." Ethan considered their options. "We can't outrun them. Too many ships, and we can't fight them directly." Liara nodded. "Then we must outthink them. Follow me." She guided Ethan toward a dense field of floating debris, remnants of an ancient battle, massive structures that had drifted for centuries. The fleet followed cautiously, unsure of the terrain. Ethan navigated carefully, dodging massive broken hulls and jagged metallic wreckage. Use the currents here, Liara instructed. Push them into the narrow passages. Their ships will collide if they are not careful. Ethan's hands moved quickly, adjusting thrusters and stabilizers. He followed Liara's directions with precision. One by one, the pursuers entered the debris field and became entangled, their formations breaking apart. Explosions erupted as ships collided, and the once threatening fleet became a chaotic mess. "We made it," Ethan shouted, adrenaline surging. Liara smiled, her calm composure unshaken. "For now. But the Empire will not stop. They will send more, stronger, and faster." Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. "Then we keep moving. We find your sanctuary and we prepare." Their journey continued, filled with close calls and clever maneuvers. Along the way, Ethan discovered that his human ingenuity was invaluable. Simple ideas, unpredictable moves, and unconventional thinking often gave them the edge against more advanced technology. Liara, in turn, admired his adaptability and courage. She began to see humans not as inferior beings, but as beings capable of surprising brilliance. One night, as they rested in the quiet of space, Liara spoke softly. "Ethan, I must ask, why do you risk so much for me? You do not know me, and yet you protect me as if I were your own family." Ethan considered her question. "I've seen what fear and greed can do to people. I've also seen what courage and kindness can do. Maybe I see in you what the galaxy needs. Someone willing to change things for the better. And maybe I just can't turn away from someone in danger." Liara's eyes softened. "Humans are remarkable. Perhaps that is why I was meant to meet you. We have much to learn from each other." The bond between them grew stronger, a silent promise forming that they would face whatever dangers awaited, together. As the hidden sanctuary drew closer, Ethan felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. They had survived the first waves of pursuit, but the Empire was vast and relentless. The journey had only begun, and the challenges ahead would test not just their skills, but their trust, courage, and determination. Ethan glanced at Liara, her luminous eyes reflecting the stars around them. "We'll make it," he said, more to himself than to her. Liara nodded. "We must. The fate of my people, and perhaps many others, depends on it." The stars continued to stretch endlessly, silent witnesses to the human and alien partnership forming in their midst. And as the transport ship sailed through the void, Ethan realized that the debt he had come to collect had become something far greater, a journey that could change the course of worlds. And in that moment, both human and Princess understood one truth. Survival was only the beginning. Adventure, danger, and destiny awaited them, and they would face it together. The small transport ship emerged from the dense asteroid clusters and entered a region of space that seemed almost untouched. Ethan Cross squinted at the sensors. "I don't see anything," he muttered. "No planets, no stations. Nothing." Liara leaned forward, her luminous eyes scanning the area. "That is because you are looking with ordinary eyes, human. The sanctuary is hidden. It cannot be detected by conventional scans. You must follow my instructions exactly." Ethan adjusted the controls, his trust in Liara absolute. Together, they navigated through a series of gravity wells and invisible currents that twisted through the empty space like hidden rivers. After hours of careful maneuvering, a faint outline appeared on the sensors, green and blue hues blending into the eye. "Darkness there," Liara said. "We are close." As they approached, the planet revealed itself, a lush world of emerald forests, glittering rivers, and mountains that shimmered with minerals. The atmosphere glowed faintly in shades of gold and teal. It was breathtaking. Unlike any place Ethan had ever seen, Ethan landed the ship gently on a broad clearing. The ground was soft with moss, and alien flowers with translucent petals swayed in the gentle breeze. Liara stepped out first, her movements elegant as if she belonged here. Ethan followed, scanning the surroundings. "Welcome to the sanctuary," Liara said. "This place has been hidden for centuries. Only a few of my people know how to find it, and even fewer dare to come here." Ethan looked around in awe. "It's beautiful. But if it's hidden, does that mean it's safe?" Liara shook her head. "Safe is a relative word. The Empire knows of its existence, but reaching it is nearly impossible. Still, we cannot underestimate them. They will come if they discover my location." They were greeted by a group of Liara's people, the Dathari Guardians. Tall, graceful, beings with iridescent skin and hair like flowing silver, they moved with precision and strength. Their eyes glimmered like stars, showing both wisdom and caution. "Princess Liara," one of the Guardians said in a melodic tone, bowing slightly. "We did not expect you so soon. And you have a human with you?" Liara nodded. "This is Ethan Cross. He has helped me reach the sanctuary and proved himself capable. He is to be trusted." The Guardians exchanged curious glances. Humans were rare visitors, often underestimated by alien civilizations. Yet, Liara's confidence spoke volumes. After a moment, the lead Guardian extended a hand toward Ethan. "Then you are welcome," he said. "But understand, trust must be earned here." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I only want to help." Liara led him deeper into the sanctuary. The planet's surface was dotted with floating crystal structures that pulsed with soft light. Strange, beautiful creatures watched from the forests, some resembling birds, others almost like glowing jellyfish floating above the ground. The air was filled with a soft hum, a natural resonance that seemed to connect every living thing. This sanctuary was designed for defense as much as it is for life, Liara explained. The floating crystals can manipulate energy, create barriers, and hide the planet from detection. My people have protected it for generations. Ethan marveled at the ingenuity. "Your people are brilliant, and you're more than just a princess, aren't you?" Liara's lips curved into a small smile. "I must lead, yes, but leadership requires understanding, strategy, and courage. I have been trained for this, and yet, it is not enough alone. That is why I needed you." Ethan felt a sense of responsibility heavier than anything he had experienced before. This was no longer a simple mission. He was now part of something much larger, something that could decide the fate of an entire world. Liara introduced him to her advisors and strategists. They were skeptical at first, viewing Ethan as just a human, inexperienced and fragile. But as he shared stories of his encounters with alien merchants, pirates, and his clever improvisations in space, they began to see potential. Humans, they realized, had something unique. Creativity, unpredictability, and courage. "You are brave," one of the advisors admitted. "And your thinking, it is different. It may prove valuable." Ethan nodded. "I will do whatever I can to help, Princess Liara and your people." For the next few days, Ethan and Liara worked together to plan for the inevitable confrontation with the Empire. Liara explained the political tension threatening her kingdom, how the Empire sought to control her planet's resources and subjugate her people. "They have advanced technology," Liara said, pointing at a holographic map of the galaxy. "Ships faster than ours, weapons more destructive than anything humans have seen. But they are predictable. They rely on force and fear. That is where we have an advantage." Ethan listened carefully. "You mean, we outsmart them?" Liara nodded. "Exactly. Strategy, timing, and human intuition. They will not expect the unexpected." Over the following days, Ethan trained with the Dathari Guardians. He learned their combat techniques, how to move silently, and how to anticipate an enemy's actions. Though he was human, he discovered that his adaptability and creativity often allowed him to perform in ways the aliens had not considered. Liara watched with approval, her respect for him growing with every passing day. 1. Evening. As the sun set over the alien forests, Liara and Ethan walked along a crystal-lined path. The sky was ablaze with colors that shifted from violet to gold, reflecting off the floating structures around them. "Ethan," Liara said softly, "you have done more than I expected. Your courage, your mind. You inspire those around you." Ethan felt a flush of pride. "I'm just trying to do my part. I didn't come here to be a hero." Liara looked at him seriously. "Sometimes the most ordinary beings are called to extraordinary roles. I believe that is true for you." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert. The sensors had detected movement in the outer forests, shadows moving with unnatural precision. Ethan immediately took a defensive stance, while Liara's eyes narrowed. "They've found us," she whispered. "Not the entire fleet, but scouts. They are probing the sanctuary. We must act quickly." Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. What should we do? Liara led him and a team of guardians into the forest. They moved silently, blending with the alien foliage. Soon they spotted the scouts, small, advanced ships disguised to look like the environment. Ethan realized the Empire had underestimated them again, assuming the sanctuary's defenses would prevent detection. "We need to disable them without alerting the fleet," Liara whispered. "Ethan, you will lead the diversion. Draw them away from the entrance. I will coordinate with the Guardians to protect the core structures." Ethan nodded. He set up decoys using small drones and controlled energy pulses to mimic movement, confusing the scouts. As the ships investigated the false signals, the Guardians slipped past and reinforced the sanctuary's hidden barriers. The plan worked perfectly. The scouts were tricked, their communications disrupted, and the sanctuary remained hidden and safe. Ethan and Liara regrouped, breathing heavily but smiling at their success. "You humans are remarkable," Liara said, shaking her head in disbelief. "You adapt quickly, and your thinking, it is unlike anything we have seen. I am glad you're here." Ethan smiled, though he felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. "I'm just doing what I can, but it feels good to finally make a difference." As night fell over the hidden planet, Ethan gazed up at the alien sky filled with unfamiliar constellations. He thought about the journey ahead, the battles to come, the strategies to plan, and the bond he was forming with Liara. This world, so different from Earth, had become a new home of sorts, and he knew that his courage and human ingenuity would be tested in ways he had never imagined. Liara placed a hand on his arm gently. "Rest now, Ethan. Tomorrow we prepare. The Empire will not stop, but together, we are stronger than they anticipate." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination. The hidden sanctuary had given them a chance, but the journey was far from over. He had claimed a debt, yes, but what he had gained was far greater: trust, purpose, and an adventure that spanned the stars. And as the gentle hum of the sanctuary's energy surrounded them, both human and princess knew one truth. The coming days would test their courage, intelligence, and trust. But together, they could face any challenge. The galaxy sent their way. The hidden sanctuary was alive with tension. Ethan Cross moved quickly through the crystal-lined corridors, carrying supplies and checking defensive systems. Outside, the sky of the alien planet glowed with the soft shimmer of auroras, but Ethan knew danger was approaching. The Empire's fleet was vast, and even a hidden sanctuary could not remain secret forever. Liara stood at the center of the main chamber, reviewing star maps projected in midair. Her luminous eyes followed every ship's position, and her mind calculated countless possibilities. "They are coming," she said calmly. "Their main fleet has located us. They will not negotiate. They will try to overwhelm us with force." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "How can we even think about fighting them? They have more ships, more weapons, and better technology than we've ever seen." Liara's voice was steady. "True, but force alone will not win this battle. They expect a straightforward confrontation. That is their weakness. We will use intelligence, strategy, and human unpredictability. Ethan blinked. Human unpredictability? Liara nodded. Yes. Humans think differently. Your kind does. Not always follow protocol. That is why you are invaluable. I will rely on you to devise tactics they cannot anticipate. Ethan's stomach tightened. The responsibility was enormous, but he felt a strange confidence. He had faced danger before, relied on instinct and creativity, and survived. Now he would do the same, but on a scale he had never imagined. The fleet appeared on the horizon, black and intimidating against the glowing sky. Ethan studied them, looking for weaknesses, patterns, anything to exploit. He noticed the ships moved in rigid formations, predictable in their approach. They're organized but not flexible, he said aloud. Liara's eyes sparkled. Exactly. Humans can exploit rigidity. Do you have a plan? Ethan thought quickly. We can't match them in firepower, but we can create confusion. Diversions, decoys, and traps. If we make them think they are attacking the wrong location, we can weaken them before they reach the core sanctuary. Liara smiled faintly. A good start. Let us refine it together. Over the next hours, Ethan and Liara worked with the Dithari Guardians to set traps and prepare diversions. Holographic projections were deployed across the sky, mimicking the sanctuary's appearance. Energy pulses were rigged to appear like defensive weapons, while hidden pathways through the forest allowed for rapid movement. We will give them the illusion of strength, Ethan explained. They will hesitate, calculate, and waste time. Meanwhile, we strike where they do not expect. Liara nodded approvingly. Humans think in ways we do not. Your unpredictability is an asset. As night fell, the first wave of the Empire's ships entered the planet's orbit. Ethan monitored their movements, sending false signals and activating decoys. The fleet responded with caution, unsure which targets were real and which were illusions. Explosions rocked the outskirts of the forest, though the sanctuary remained untouched. Good, Ethan muttered. They're buying it, Liara observed calmly. Now we must act. Guardians, follow me. Ethan, you lead the diversion squad. Ethan nodded and signaled a small team of humans and guardians. Together, they moved through hidden pathways, launching controlled energy bursts and activating traps that forced the enemy ships into collisions with the terrain and each other. Chaos erupted among the attackers, their formations collapsing under pressure. One massive cruiser leading the squadron advanced directly toward the sanctuary. Ethan gritted his teeth. That one's too big to trick. We need a direct approach. Liara joined him at the control interface. Use the gravity wells. Lead it toward the asteroid belts beyond the planet. It cannot maneuver easily there. Ethan adjusted the thrusters, guiding the cruiser into a narrow corridor of floating asteroids. The massive ship scraped against rocks, its hull damaged, while smaller ships behind it struggled to maintain formation. The Empire's fleet began to falter, their advantage slipping away. Keep it up, Liara urged. Every move counts. Ethan coordinated with the Guardians, timing energy pulses and creating temporary barriers to mislead the enemy. Their ships fired blindly, wasting ammunition on illusions while the sanctuary remained protected. Ethan realized that the combination of human intuition and Dithari precision was unmatched. Hours passed, and the battle raged. Ethan and Liara worked seamlessly, anticipating each enemy move. Ethan used simple, unexpected tactics, such as decoy, ships moving in unpredictable patterns, to confuse the enemy sensors. Liara synchronized the Guardians' defenses with pinpoint accuracy. Together, they turned the battle into a test of wits rather than brute force. Finally, the fleet's commander, realizing the attack was failing, signaled a retreat. Ethan watched as the massive ships disappeared into space, leaving the sanctuary untouched. The calm of the alien planet returned, punctuated only by the soft hum of the crystals and the distant calls of alien wildlife. Liara turned to Ethan, her expression serene yet proud. You humans, Your courage, creativity, and unpredictability have saved the sanctuary. The Empire underestimated you, and that is why we succeeded. Ethan exhaled, his body aching from the long hours of tension. I couldn't have done it without you. You knew exactly what to do and you guided us all. Liara smiled faintly. We complemented each other. The combination of human intuition and Dathari strategy was stronger than either alone. You have proven your worth, Ethan. More than I expected. Ethan felt a warm sense of accomplishment. He had come to collect a debt, expecting a simple task. Instead, he had helped save a hidden world, defended a princess, and outsmarted an entire fleet. He realized that his human qualities, ingenuity, adaptability, courage, were more powerful than any weapon. That night, as the sanctuary settled into quiet, Ethan walked with Liara along the crystal-lined paths. The sky shimmered with stars reflecting on the floating structures and casting colorful lights over the forest. You did well today, Liara said softly. Not many humans could have led the diversion so effectively. Ethan shook his head. I just did what I had to do. I followed your lead and thought outside the box. It's what humans do best. Liara regarded him with a serious expression. Humans are remarkable. You survive, adapt, and find solutions where others would fail. That is why I trust you. That is why I knew you could help me. Ethan felt a deep sense of connection. He had entered this galaxy for a simple mission, but he had found purpose, respect, and trust beyond anything he imagined. Liara was not just a princess. She was a leader who valued intelligence, courage, and integrity. And together, they had achieved the impossible. As they paused by a crystal fountain, Liara spoke quietly. Ethan, the Empire will not forget today. They will return. But now we know their weaknesses, and we have proven that even a small force can outthink a greater one. That is the true power of strategy. Ethan nodded, feeling both exhilarated and determined. Then we prepare, we learn, we train, and we get ready for whatever comes next. I'm not going anywhere. Liara's eyes gleamed. Good. Together, we can face anything. You have shown that courage, creativity, and trust can overcome the mightiest forces. That is why humans are special. Ethan smiled faintly, realizing the truth in her words. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of extraordinary bravery. He had been tested, challenged, and proven himself. And now, as he stood beside the alien princess, he knew that the journey ahead would demand more. But he was ready. The hidden sanctuary shimmered under the alien night sky, a symbol of hope and resilience. The Empire's fleet had been defeated, not by numbers but by clever strategy, courage, and the unity between human and alien minds. Ethan understood that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and many challenges awaited, but he felt a growing confidence that together, he and Liara could face anything. As the wind rustled through the glowing trees and the soft hum of energy pulsed through the crystal structures, Ethan and Liara stood side by side, ready to confront the future. For the first time, Ethan realized that a debt he had once sought to claim had led him to a destiny far greater than he could have imagined. A destiny that intertwined his life with that of a princess, her people, and the fate of worlds. And, in that quiet, victorious moment, both human and alien understood one truth. Courage, intelligence, and trust could overcome even the greatest of enemies. The battle had been won, but the war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. The hidden sanctuary glimmered softly under the alien dawn. After the battle with the Empire's fleet, the once tense air was filled with cautious relief. Ethan Cross moved among the Dathari guardians and engineers, helping repair minor damage and ensuring the protective barriers remained intact. Though the physical battle was over, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on him. He knew the Empire would not forget this defeat, and the next challenge could be far greater. Princess Liara walked beside him, her elegant form silhouetted against the glowing crystals. She had spent the night reviewing strategies, planning defenses, and coordinating messages to distant allies. Despite the exhaustion in her luminous eyes, her posture remained regal, unyielding. "You've done well, Ethan," she said, her voice calm but warm. "Your quick thinking saved lives and your courage inspired my people. I cannot thank you enough." Ethan shook his head, brushing dust from his jacket. "I didn't do it alone. You led us with intelligence and strategy. I just followed the flow and added a little unpredictability." Liara smiled faintly. "And that unpredictability made all the difference. Humans are remarkable. You survive in ways we do not expect, and your ingenuity turned the tide." Ethan felt a flush of pride but quickly reminded himself that the work was not done. "The Empire won't give up. They'll send more ships, more agents. We need a plan for that, and fast." Liara's eyes glimmered as she nodded. "Yes, we will expand our alliances. Other planets that oppose the Empire will aid us. But first, we celebrate this small victory." Celebration was a new experience for Ethan among the alien people. In the central plaza, glowing structures formed patterns that pulsed gently with light, casting vibrant reflections on the soft ground. The guardians and residents gathered, their voices blending into a melodious harmony, celebrating the successful defense of their home. Humans, aliens, and hybrids moved together, sharing stories of bravery and ingenuity. Ethan watched, feeling a deep sense of belonging he had never known. A senior guardian approached Ethan, bowing slightly. "You have proven yourself to be more than a human outsider," the guardian said. "You are a friend, an ally, and a protector. Your actions will be remembered among the Dathari for generations." Ethan nodded, humbled. "I only did what I could. I want to help, not just fight. I want to see this place thrive." Liara joined them, placing a hand gently on Ethan's arm. "That is why I would like you to consider a more permanent role here. Not as a soldier, but as an advisor, a strategist, and a protector. Someone who understands both humans and aliens. Someone who can unite different worlds." Ethan's mind raced. A role like that? On an alien planet, with responsibilities, far beyond any debt he had ever collected, and yet he felt a spark of purpose he had never felt before. I would be honored," he said finally. "If it means helping you and your people, I accept." Liara's eyes brightened. "Good. Then we move forward together. Humanity and the Dathari can achieve more united than divided." In the following weeks, Ethan adjusted to his new life. He trained further with the Guardians, learning their defensive techniques and tactical thinking, while also teaching them human approaches to problem solving. He introduced creative strategies for resource management, scouting, and communication. Slowly, the sanctuary's defenses became stronger, combining Dathari technology with human ingenuity. Liara and Ethan continued to bond. During quiet moments, they discussed their worlds, dreams, and philosophies. Ethan admired Liara's calm wisdom and foresight, while Liara appreciated his courage and unconventional thinking. Their partnership had grown beyond necessity. It had become a true alliance, built on trust and respect. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the sanctuary's forests, Liara and Ethan stood together on a balcony of a floating crystal tower. The view was breathtaking. Rivers of light flowed through the trees and the air shimmered with energy. "Do you ever think about Earth?" Liara asked softly, her voice carried by the gentle wind. Ethan smiled faintly. "All the time. I miss it sometimes, but this has become home in a different way, a place where I can make a real difference, and I've never felt more alive." Liara nodded. "Then you understand why humans are special. You bring courage, creativity, and hope to worlds far beyond your own. That is why I trust you. That is why the Empire fears what you and I can accomplish together." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. For the first time, he realized the debt he had claimed so long ago had led him to something far greater, not just an adventure, but a purpose, a bond, and a chance to protect a world that had become dear to him. Suddenly, alarms sounded from the outer perimeter. Ethan's heart raced, but Liara's calm voice reassured him. "It is a minor fleet scouting, nothing they can do without the main force." Ethan moved quickly to the control station, checking sensor readings. The scouts were small, fast but predictable. Ethan deployed a series of decoys, energy pulses, and holographic projections to mislead them. Within minutes, the scouting fleet was confused, retreating from the sanctuary. "You handled that perfectly," Liara said, impressed. "Humans are remarkable in their creativity." Ethan chuckled. "I guess I'm learning from the best, Princess." Liara's smile held a rare warmth. "Not just a princess, Ethan. A leader. And now, you are a partner in this leadership. Together, we protect, guide, and plan for the future." Days turned into weeks, and news of the sanctuary's survival spread across nearby star systems. Other planets and factions reached out, forming alliances with Liara and her people. Ethan became a key liaison, using his human perspective to bridge cultural gaps and negotiate terms. Slowly, a coalition began to form. Humans and aliens united against the Empire's oppressive ambitions. During a meeting with representatives from several allied worlds, Ethan demonstrated a new defensive strategy, combining Dathari energy barriers with human tactical maneuvers. The delegates watched in awe, impressed by the ingenuity of combining different approaches. Liara observed from the center of the room. "See how humans and Dathari can complement each other? Together, we are stronger than we ever were alone." Ethan smiled. "I've always believed that courage and intelligence combined with trust can overcome even the greatest obstacles. And I see now. It's true on a universal scale." After the meeting, Liara and Ethan walked through the sanctuary's crystal gardens. The air was alive with glowing flora, and small creatures with translucent wings flitted among the trees. "You've changed this world, Ethan," Liara said softly, "and not just the defenses. You've inspired my people to see that strength comes in many forms, not just power but creativity, courage, and trust." Ethan looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "I didn't expect to become part of something so big, but I'm glad I did. I think I've found my place here." Liara placed a hand gently on his arm. "And we will face the future together, humans and Dathari united. No empire can defeat such a bond." Ethan nodded. He understood now that the debt he had once collected was a small part of a much larger story, a story of friendship, trust, courage, and unity. He had arrived expecting a simple task, but he had found purpose, respect, and a place where he could make a lasting difference. As the twin moons rose higher in the sky, casting silver light over the sanctuary, Ethan and Liara stood side by side, looking toward the future. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers, but also possibilities. And for the first time, Ethan felt certain of one thing. Together, humans and Dathari could face anything. Liara spoke quietly, her voice filled with conviction. "Ethan, you have proven that ordinary beings can achieve extraordinary things. Courage, intelligence, and trust are more powerful than any fleet or weapon. Remember that." Ethan smiled. "I will. And I'll keep proving it, every day, in every way I can." The sanctuary hummed softly around them, a beacon of hope and resilience. The Empire's shadow had been pushed back, at least for now. But the alliance between human ingenuity and alien wisdom would stand as a new force in the galaxy, ready to face any challenge. Ethan realized that his life had changed forever. He had claimed a debt and found something far greater: purpose, friendship, and a bond that could change the fate of worlds. Princess Liara had found not just a protector, but a partner. And Ethan had discovered that even an ordinary human could achieve the extraordinary when courage, intelligence, and trust guided the way. As the stars sparkled above the hidden planet, Ethan felt a deep sense of hope and determination. This was only the beginning of a new era, an era where humans and aliens could work together, united by respect, creativity, and courage. And as long as he stood beside Liara, Ethan knew they could face any challenge the galaxy sent their way. The debt had been claimed, the princess was safe, and a new alliance had been forged. The adventure was far from over, But for the first time, Ethan felt ready for whatever came next.